Yo, guys, what's up, and welcome back to the Marvel Chats podcast. This is episode 167. Tonight on the cast is myself, Finto, and Alex, aka Zebrolf. We're going to be talking about the series 2 finale of The Last of Us, a little bit of Marvel news, and any other news in between. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you are watching a replay, leave us a comment below, let us know what you think. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, a review would be fantastic. Thank you. Without further ado, here we go. What's up, brother? How are you?
Hey, how's it going, man? I'm doing all right. How you been?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Busy week in work, but I have a long weekend coming up, so
Yeah.
there's a reward at the end of the road, an extra day off, which is nice. So looking forward to that. The weather's shit. I can actually hear the rain bouncing off the window behind me here, and it's the middle of summer, or well, the start of summer, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
How are you? How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Just been doing a lot of work as well. Just trying to keep up with with everything that's going on in my company, and just happy to be working. I think I got to my second year, so I got like a message from my boss. They're like, "Hey, we're just letting you know you got a raise. So good, doing good. Keep up the good work." I'm like, "All right." And
They didn't even discuss it with you. They were just like, "Here's an automatic bump just for 2 years."
they don't tell me anything. They're just like, "Hey, you're doing good. Here's a raise." Like the
And
first year, they'll.
without giving me a number, is it like are you happy with it?
Oh yeah, I mean, well, I could give you a number. The first year they gave me 10%.
Yeah,
Like
that's
they
good.
gave me like 10% raise, and I'm like, I like the most I've ever had in my entire life working any sort of job was maybe a quarter.
A
like a
quarter of a percent.
no, like a quarter. Like literally, you get a quarter bump on your hourly pay,
Oh, okay, right.
and and
Yeah, that's not
so
that's not
like
that's not very helpful.
no, and so with the amount that I make, 10% was huge, like huge,
Yeah,
big number. That was like an extra $4.
cool,
So like
cool.
it's just like it was nuts. So the second year, it's about like 2.7%, which that seems about normal. Like they just gave me a little bit more, and I'm not worried about it. I didn't really get a lot done,
Yeah,
so I just if I can wow them this year, then I could probably get a little bit more. But for now, I probably just did a decent amount.
yeah. Like again, like we've talked about jobs before and offline as well, and I know you're kind of happy where you are now. So I suppose anything is good. Um, yeah, I think when I first started my current job, I joined in January, and they like usually do their pay reviews in like June or July or something. And I remember kind of cheekily kind of saying it to my manager. I was like, "Oh, I know the pay reviews are coming up. Is there any chance I'm going to get anything?" And he was just like, "Oh yeah, like let me just like because I've been doing a great job." And they were like, Let's see if I could do something." And they gave me like I think it might have been like 5% or something bump, and I was only like 6 months in the place, so that was really cool. I was very surprised by that. So, um, yeah, like it's great. It's always good to get more money. You know what I mean? So yeah, congrats, man. Great. I love to hear it. And
Thanks.
I was chatting with Andre in the chat before we went live, and he's got some cool kind of promotions coming up too as well. So I'm glad to hear the community are doing well. Like, and again, my job is going great. They're trying to move me up, and there isn't a position available yet, but I know when there is, I'm probably going to just slot straight into it, which is great, which will be more money for me too. And I started collecting Pokemon cards recently, which is obviously one of the biggest mistakes of my life, and
Ooh,
I'm going to need a pay rise to pay for that. But no,
yeah. Oh my God.
I'm trying not to get too heavy into it, but I love it. Like I've been playing the Pokemon Pocket game, and it's kind of got me wanted to collect some real cards as well. Like I haven't collected real cards since I was a kid, so yeah, it's probably the worst time ever to get into Pokemon. Like the hobby is just destroyed right now with scalpers and all this shit, and the fact that like ETBs that came out a couple of years ago that were like $40 are going for like 650 $700. Like it's insane. So like even getting your hands on anything is hard. So I'm just getting a few packs here and there. Like my daughter, she's only 2.5, but she loves like just the idea of opening packs, and she doesn't know what any of it means, but like she just gets giddy and stuff. So like she'll sit and like when I when I see her for the first time in the day after work, like she'll be like packs, 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 and like she'll be like looking to go on my phone to open packs from Pokemon Pocket and stuff. So I just love even just like I'll save my free packs for when I see her first, you know, and I'll open them
Yeah,
with
of
her, like because
course.
she just gets so giddy when there's like a 1 star or 2 star, like something pops up like an animation or something. She's just going crazy. She loves it. So yeah, it's great. It's great, man. I love it. I love it. Just before we kind of jump into Last of Us, I just want to say thanks to anybody who was here in the pre-chat. I know we were a couple of minutes late starting, so I apologize for that. But it's good to see people just hanging out and just chilling in the chat. We got a great little community here. And as I say, yeah, if you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're live usually once a week, but there's usually videos going up, and we've got a clips channel and everything, so you can keep in touch when we're not actually live here. So there's plenty going on socials and everything. So, yeah, let's just jump straight in. I'm very curious to see what you thought of the finale of The Last of Us. I got a couple of bits of Marvel news and stuff like that, and we can kind of maybe jump into some off-topic stuff at the end of the cast as well, because I don't really know how long the Last of Us chat will last. But yeah, let's just dive anyway straight into it. Tell me, what did you think of the finale?
God, I dude, I don't know like what the hell they were thinking. I don't know
Yeah,
what their deal was with the story. I don't know why they decided to go these different routes and change the way that the story is written just to rush things, you know, because this is like it's not even 8 episode show. It's 7. Like it wasn't 10, it wasn't 8, it was 7. Like so they boiled it down to like this rush job essentially. And it's
yeah,
just like what the fuck, man? Like you're like it's not enough time to explain everything that's going on here.
yeah,
It's not enough time to like flesh out these characters. It's not enough time for us to appreciate these characters. And for sure, like I feel like they've just been rushing like the direction of this and making it so fuck it, like, you know, Bella Ramsey do this and she does this and they're like, okay, cut, let's go. And it's like, why is this such a rush delivery? Because I really think that Bella Ramsey did a pretty good job in the first season. So like
fantastic
do
in the first season.
to see her do terrible in the second one, I don't think it's entirely her fault.
I partly agree with you and I partly don't. I think that when they did the flashback episodes in season 2, I thought she was great. And I don't know if that's she can play well off Pedro or Pedro's so fucking good that he just elevates people who are in scenes with him. I don't know. But when she went back to being like a younger Ellie who's at Joel's side, she was phenomenal. And the ratings are there. You can clearly see it. It's written in front of you. If you go and watch the episodes with Pedro in it, they're stellar. High 8s, early 9s, and then when it's her by herself, it just seems to fall apart. I don't know if it's a combination of her playing the older Ellie and maybe she just can't do it as well as playing the younger Ellie, or maybe she just can't act well on her own. She can't lead. I don't know what it is. I'm, like I suppose season 3, or well, Jesus, it might be season 4 by the time we get to see her really kind of develop into the badass Ellie that we know from the end of the second game, but that could be 2029 by the time we get to see that, which like is absolutely ridiculous when you think about it, because season 3, I believe, is going to start shooting next year, which means it's probably not going to come out till 2027.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about the Abby story, it's going to come full circle all the way back around to that scene at the very end of the season that we saw, which is like the cinema scene, and poor Jesse, spoiler alert, Jesse getting shot in the face. We're going to loop all the way back around to that point, and then we're probably going to hand back to Ellie, but that's going to be 4 years down the road, like in real world time. So like if they shoot season 3 in 2026, bets are they'll probably shoot season 7 in 2027, 2028. Like that's 3 years down the road. Like everyone's going to look aged. It's going to not really flow really well, especially when the entire story is set to take place over 3 days in Seattle. It's kind of crazy, when we're talking about 4 years of our lives waiting to watch what might potentially be 14 more episodes of TV.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I was watching a video, heavy spoilers, put out, kind of just talking about the game and where he was kind of summarizing what happens in the game after where we left off in the show, and it was a nice video to watch. And I kind of left a comment on it, and he replied to me, and we were kind of just having a chat in the comments about like why we think like that it's ridiculous how it's going to take so long, and like, what could be like the implications of why it's taken them so long to make these shows now. And like, I don't really understand. I don't think Bella Ramsey's a very busy actress. I think she does a bit of voice work outside of like physical acting, but she's not Pedro Pascal. She's not she's not juggling the MCU and movies left and right, and other TV or whatever. The girl who plays Abby, I think she's a bit of a decorated actress. I don't know how busy she is. I don't know how busy her schedule is. I haven't really dug into this too deep, but what I think is happening is they're hiring people like Pedro Pascal to be in these shows, which is fantastic. It's great to have like A-list actors in a TV show, but at the same time, you're bringing on somebody who's expensive, who's very talented, but also very busy. And this show has to work around Pedro's schedule, right? And that's why there was probably such a big gap, and hopefully why there won't be as much of a gap between 3 and 4 or whatever. But like between 1 and 2, I presume the big gap is because Pedro was so busy doing other things, and you have to wait until he finishes shooting fucking 3 movies, and then it's like, okay, now I can come back and shoot episodes of this show. But like, as great as it is to have somebody like Pedro in this show, I think having like these big A-list movie stars in TV is kind of hurting TV at the same time. Like, I was thinking about this, and it's like talking about like Supernatural, for example. Like, the CW would put Supernatural out, brand new season would start every October, and it would run through till the next May with a break at Christmas and a break in February. That was just every year for 15 years. They just did it every year. It was perfect. 23 episodes a season, except for like season 3, I think, when there was like the writer strikes in 08, and it was like a short season with 16 episodes, and they're 45-minute episodes long every fucking week, no matter what. Now we're like struggling to get 7 episodes of a TV show, and now we have to wait 2 years to see the next episode. It's crazy. Like, why were they not shooting the Abby story and the Ellie story at the same time? Like, why do we have to wait potentially 2 years to see the next episodes? Like, it's crazy, man. Like,
because it's different settings, though, man. Like, you got to remember, like, they're not in the same area. They're not running through the same corridors. They're not going through the exact same pathing. Because if they were, then you could totally save time and effort by doing those shoots. But at the same time, then it would just be like, oh, it's just a trail. So like then we would just see reshoots, and it would just kind of be bleh. This is much more delicate.
They could go straight, like they could keep going, like, you know what I mean? Like, they finish filming the Ellie scenes, they could just go into the Abby stuff. Like, I understand what you're saying. Like, do you split the crew into 2, and some people go and shoot the Abby side, some people shoot the Ellie side? Obviously that's stretching out the crew and all, but they should easily be able to do it. Like, what the point I'm trying to make is that we shouldn't have to wait 2 years for a season. It's not just this show that are doing it. House of the Dragon are taking 2 years between seasons, and I think again it's down to just people like Matt Smith and stuff being like really busy and having to do other shit, and other actresses needing to go and do movies and other TV shows and stuff like that. But like, if you think back to even Game of Thrones, like when Game of Thrones was airing first, it was a new season every year. Like, they were able to do it, and I think they were able to do it because people, like all the main characters of the show, that was their job. They didn't do anything else. Like, if you were lucky enough to do a movie, you did it in the off season of your show. Everything revolved around the show. The show was number one. And if you got the chance to go out and do a movie, the only way you would be able to sign on to do a movie is what it would be if it would shoot in the off season of your show. I'm big into kind of the behind the scenes stuff of like movie making and TV and stuff like that. Like, and I follow like people's careers and stuff. And like, for example, the dude who played like the Green Arrow, I knew like when he wasn't shooting Arrow, he was able to go off and like do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 because it's shot during the summer when he was off from shooting Arrow. It's like, like that's how it works. So I just think that it's not working that way anymore, and we're paying the price. It's ridiculous that we might potentially have to wait 2 years and then 4 years to see what happens with Ellie next. I've seen some people talking online saying like there's this big cliffhanger at the end of the episode where we hear a gunshot and everyone's like, oh my God, like people who haven't played the games are like, oh my God, is Ellie dead? Like, and imagine being somebody who they're not a gamer, but they like watching TV shows. And now they're going to think that they're going to think all the way up and potentially until 2029 that Ellie is dead. It's fucking crazy, man. It's wild. It's wild. Like, and I think like, if we played the game, and again, spoilers for what happens next, if you don't want to know what happens next, if you don't game, like don't like mute the stream for a minute, but like in the game, she actually shoots Tommy there. Like she doesn't actually shoot Ellie. So like Tommy goes to grab her leg or he stabs her in the leg or something, and then she turns around and shoots him in the shoulder. Like that's the shot that we hear. But obviously the way that they've shot it and cut away, they're leaving on a big cliffhanger, and everybody thinks that Ellie's dead. But like we know that that's not actually what's going on. But like imagine being like some random person that's not a gamer that doesn't they just it's crazy to think like that they might have to wait till 2029 to see what happens to Ellie next.
Yeah,
She's gonna be 4 years older. Like it's insane.
I mean, she's still gonna look the same. I highly doubt her face is gonna change.
I think she will. I think that's part of the reason why she got the role as well. She looks very young. Like she actually looks like a teenager, and she's in her 20s. Like so, I actually think that's why she got the role, because it's like she can play a younger version. Like she can play a 14-year-old pretty convincingly on TV, and then when we need to in a couple of years jump her up to being 20 or 21 or whatever she is, like we can get away with that as well because that's her actual age. So I actually think that's one of the main reasons why she got the role. But look, to kind of, I don't really want to just spend the entire time shitting on the show because I think they did some things okay. Like I liked Jesse's performance. The actor was great. I kind of connected with the character more than I did in the game. I didn't really give a shit about Jesse in the game. I don't know how you felt about him in the game, but I didn't really care about him in the game too much. And then when he got shot, it was like more of a kind of just like, whoa, can't believe he got shot. Like that was crazy. But like I felt sorry for him in the show because I think they spent a little bit more time with him. Like he got to kind of go out on that little like trek with Ellie in the show to try and find Tommy, and they were talking about him being a father, and he's like, I'm not going to die here. I have to protect my child. I have to get my child home and all this stuff. Like that sort of stuff didn't really happen in the game, or if it did, I don't remember. But I connected with Jesse a lot more, and like my missus again hasn't played again, like hasn't seen one frame from the game at all. And when Jesse got like, she had been saying to me like, "Oh, is this guy going to be the new Joel?" Like, like she was like kind of full of hope that like this was going to be the new guy of the show, like, And then when he got shot in the face, she's like, "What the fuck?" It's like, I know.
Totally gone.
I was like, this game is just full of like heartbreak and disaster. This show, like it game, like the story is just full of like disaster. And again, another thing that I'm obviously the more we watch of this, the more I realize that the game, even the second game, is a much better story than the show. And I don't understand why they've changed so much of it around. But one thing I did kind of like that they did was how Mel died. I didn't hate it. The fact that like the bullet went through Owen's neck and like grazed Mel's neck instead of like viewing like Ellie getting like really vicious and stabbing her in the neck with a knife like she does in the game. It kind of like it was an accident, and it kind of maybe doesn't make you hate Ellie as much. I don't know. Again, I've been kind of having a few conversations with people offline about the finale and stuff, and it's like part of me thinks that HBO want us to hate Ellie, with the way that they kind of portray her as a character in this show. Like she's just a fucking idiot half the time. She just like makes these really like irrational decisions and like puts people at risk and just doesn't give a fuck. Like she's just not clever at all. Whereas in the game, she's like a lot more strategic, and you can feel like she's learned a lot more lessons from Joel. Whereas in the show, she just doesn't really feel like that at all. Like when she's talking to Jesse about going to the aquarium, and he's just like, "We need to go and get Tommy." Like, we've just heard on the radio, they're closing in on him. Like, we need to go and help him. And she's like, "I'm going to the aquarium. That's where Abby is." And it's like, can we just go save Tommy first, and then we'll all go together? And she's, "No, I'm going there. Like, fuck you." And all, like, it's just like, what are you doing? Like, whereas I know like in the game, it's a different structure in the game. So like you don't even really they don't emphasize on that as much. I think there is a very similar scene, but she doesn't like treat Jessie the same. Whereas I think in the show, they're trying to make it out as if like she's a bit of a bitch. Like, whereas you don't really feel that in the game, as much.
I mean, the reason why they do it this way is because of the fact that they had written that she's so inclined to be like this baby's caretaker that she's even saying that she's going to be a father when Jesse is alive.
Yeah.
It is disgusting to think that way. Like it's it's so horrid to think that this person is going, oh, I'm going to take over the duties of the father because I'm with Dina.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck, man? Like, why are you like, why would you put this in the show? Like, what does this and what does this serve? Like, what is the purpose of this? Why do you make this a thing? So now I feel like Ellie's just trying to steal the child, essentially, like, and just run away with Dina. She hasn't really cared enough about Joel during this whole escapade, besides like walking around with Dina and then going off on her own once in a while. And then we see just like little tidbits here and there of that. When she's with Jesse, like, honestly, I think Jesse was a lot better not knowing anything.
Yeah.
And in the game than knowing everything within the show, because it feels much more like a punch in the fucking nuts. And it's like, how fucked up is that? Like, you know, he's like, the writers know he's gonna die, and to have him die and know that he's gonna leave a kid behind,
it's fucked.
It's fucked up. But like, that's probably what they were trying to aim at. It's like, oh, well, now Jesse's dead. Oh, that's horrible, because like he just found out he was going to be a father. Mm-hmm. But oh wait, Ellie's going to be the father, right? So like, it just that rolls through my head of about this whole situation. It's like, that's fucking gross, man. Jesse, honestly, I like Jesse in the game. I really liked him in the game. I thought he was very well done. I think it was a very subtle character that had a lot of meaning behind it, because he didn't know anything that was going on.
Yeah.
And because he doesn't know what's going on, he's still willing to help and willing to, like, you know, provide service and support for Ellie and Dina during the time, and even go as far as to go and get Tommy, because he knows like how important it is that Tommy survives this whole ordeal. This, like, the whole community thing, the whole like making the community an importance, like, I can see why that's a thing, because that obviously would happen in terms of like what you would see within like a grouping. You don't necessarily have someone to rule over them, you just have a council. The whole end point of it, though, was to make Ellie just shout out "fuck the council," like kind of make it sound like she doesn't give a shit about anybody else. It's not that she doesn't give a shit about anybody. It's that she gave a shit so much about someone who actually wanted her to live her life and to experience things in her life, and like, they're gone. All of a sudden, that was the only family that she could really like bond with, besides like Dina. Dina's sort of someone that she could bond with, but that's not until later. This is someone that like she absolutely had a growing like a growth with, like a bond, a kinship almost. Like it's just it was so close to being, you know, father daughter. Mm-hmm. And the fact that she didn't get a chance to forgive him is like a very hard thing on her like on her brain, in her heart. And it bugs Tommy too. Tommy wasn't necessarily going to go for it, but he knew how much it upset Ellie, to the point where he went out on his own to do it, because he didn't want Ellie to deal with that pain. Because he knows how important it is to just let things go. But she wouldn't. But she didn't involve the community. She didn't involve anybody else. She just snuck out. Mm-hmm. But that's the fucking crazy thing. Is like, now that they have a community, they're like, oh, well, the community cares about doesn't give a shit about this. Like, well, fuck you then. Like, yeah, of course she's going to sound like she doesn't give a shit about anybody in town, because there's a community and they told her no. And it's like, who the fuck are you to tell me no? So like, they changed the dynamic of it. It wasn't her sneaking off, or it wasn't her going after Tommy. It was her going, fuck you guys, Joel needs to be avenged. And it's like, okay, well, can you display that? Can you express that while you're on your way? No, it's like, oh, Dina's pregnant. Oh, I'm going to be dead. It's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
Like, it got so fucking out of control in terms of everything that they're trying to explain and detail. It didn't add up. It didn't go into like, because of this happened, because of this happened, because, like, it didn't run into because. It's just like, okay, Joel's gone, and then the council said no, and then, you know, all this other shit. Everything cool?
Yeah, sorry. I actually just need to just step away for just 1 second. I'm so sorry. Just give
Sure,
me 1 minute. Sorry.
I'll keep it rolling.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, so like when it comes to the show compared to the game, the show does a really bad, like it takes it in a really bad direction to where it's like I'm going to expose everything all at once so that you know the premise of the story and you know how it's going to filter out essentially. And it's like you're not giving me anything to wonder about, anything to care about, anything to really like express. Whereas like in the game, it's like, shit, we just lost Joel. Okay, what do we do? Well, Tommy just left because he saw how upset Ellie was. Oh shit, we need to go get Tommy. But at the same time, we might as well go look for Abby. Well, like in this process, because we have information about Abby. So it's like that makes sense because it's like, okay, well now we have a premise, but we don't know what the story is unfolding. Why did they leave? Why did they keep her alive? Why did they keep, why did they keep anybody else alive? Like, why? We don't have that why anymore. We just have the it's because of this. Like, we don't get to question anything. It's like the show was like, don't question anything. We got it for you. Here's all the stuff. We're gonna spoon feed you everything, and just leave you with nothing at the end of it. Because at the very end of this episode, it left me with nothing. I don't care that we went to Abby. It almost felt like when I was actually playing the game, and we got to Abby's side, and I'm like, and in my head I'm like, oh god, we're gonna see her side now, and I'm like, that's another fucking like 15-20 hours. And mind you, I was streaming this at the same time, and I'm like, I'm having such a good time though. Like it's still fun to kind of go through Abby's story, but like it's like, okay, here's the other side, and that's what we're gonna experience with the next season. But like in the show, it's like I don't even care anymore. Like I didn't see enough. I didn't understand enough of Abby. Like it's just, but I know that her friends were just kind of there. Like I don't like, I know that we're gonna start like delving into further like on Mel and on Owen and on all the other characters, but like it was so interesting when you go through the hospital like as Ellie in the game, and you see how like as they're going through, you hear all these conversations that are going on, and Ellie's like hearing all the things that are happening within the hospital, and how they're all concerned about all these happenings that are going around, and how like people are wondering where the fuck is Abby, what happened to this, and like Abby went over here, we last saw her over here, but we didn't know that she was AWOL, and that was the cool thing. But like we don't get any of that. Like we were just kind of like, here's your wall of text, and then here's the story. You don't get any other context besides that.
Sorry, I just kind of came in at the end of that episode, at the end of your speech there, so I kind of missed what you were talking about. But I think you're referring to just the gaps in where Abby is in the story right now. Is it?
Yeah, which is like it kind of gives you a little tidbits in the game, but like
Yeah.
in the show, it's like so convoluted. Like they give us every bit of information on everything else, which shouldn't be given. But then we're like, we're given nothing about Abby at
Yeah.
all, besides Nora, besides like maybe a little bit of Mel and Owen, just slightly. And then
Yeah.
of course they sans the dog, which is fine. Like I know a lot of people are like, oh, if they'd have showed the dog getting killed, then we would have had a problem. But it's like
Yeah.
that's how things happen, dude. Like it like how insane would it be if Game of Thrones pulled their punches and they didn't show a fucking C-section, like essentially like a stillborn baby getting pulled out and fucking like just blood and mess, and like just seeing a stillbirth. Like how crazy was that shit?
I kind of understand why she didn't do it. Like looking at the blade that she had, it was quite a long blade, and like she asked the question, like how far do I stick it in? Like I don't know what to do here, like and I kind of understand the just sheer fear of like am I going to kill this child by doing this, or and yeah, it was a really it was a very, very hard scene to watch for me as a parent anyway. But I can kind of understand. I don't hold Ellie against that for like kind of panicking and just freezing up and not knowing what to do. I kind of think that's real. You know, I'd be fucking petrified if that was me in that situation. I'd be petrified if like trying to stab her stomach to break through the womb and stuff, or like the fucking whatever, like break into the womb and through the sac and all this shit and try and get the baby out. I'd be so afraid of like stabbing the baby and killing it, and obviously the baby dies anyway. But yeah, I can kind of understand that. I didn't have a problem with that scene at all, but I do understand what you're saying. Like if it was Game of Thrones, they definitely would have just like, you would have sliced her with a sword and just like baby would have fallen out along with all of her guts and everything and blood everywhere. Like it's just one of it.
They would have killed
show.
They would have killed 20 of the cutest little puppies in that fucking show, and you know it.
Yeah. Yeah, like man, like it's there's so much about the show that I just don't understand. I'd love to sit down with Druckmann. I'd love to have him here right now and just be like, explain this to me, man. Why have you done this? Like, why? Number one, like, why did they have to hang Ellie? I thought that was so silly.
Yeah, that
like,
was odd.
It was so weird because like the second it started happening, I was like, oh, they're changing this. This happens to Abby in the game, but okay, now it's happening to Ellie. I was like, that's a bit of a strange decision. And then when like all the troops are going over to the island, which is like the end of the second game, but they're letting it happen in the middle of the show basically. I was like, that's a bit of a strange decision. And then I suppose it adds up because they have to have the explosion for them to stop trying to kill Ellie. So it kind of like, you know, that's the reasoning for them going over early, but it's like, take the Ellie hanging out of it altogether. I think that's so stupid. And I think I was talking to Sharky offline about this, and she said to me that you can actually see in the shot with Abby at the very end, she actually has rope burns on her neck, which I didn't notice when I was watching the show myself. But that's to kind of indicate that she has gone through that part herself off screen. And maybe we'll see it in season 3. But I'm confused at that again, because I'm like, did that not happen after the cinema scene in the game? Like, does that not happen when they go over to the island at first or something? Or again, I'm probably mixing it up, but the whole pacing of the show and just the timeline, we'll call it, it just feels so all over the place. Like when Isaac is talking to the female, and they're talking about like, you know, well, we all might be dead tomorrow. I was hoping for Abby to take over. She needs to lead the wolves if we die. I was kind of when I was watching that scene, I was like, what's he talking about? Like, why are they going to die tomorrow? I'm like, is there like a really big storm coming and they think that like the place is going to get washed out or something? Like, that's where my brain went straight away. I didn't think that they were storming the village, because I was like, that doesn't happen till way later. Like, my brain didn't even go there. And then when I see them all loading up on the boats, and I'm like, okay, where are they going here? And then it was like, then I see all the boats heading over to I was like, oh shit, they're doing the island now. I was like, that's crazy. So like part of me is like wishing that I didn't play the game and I could just view this as like its own story, because I might not break it down as much in my head, but like, you know, we're gamers here, so I'm going to compare it to the game, and like the game just did it so much better. I see so many people as well like leaving comments on posts about it and stuff. It's like they had the story for the game there, like one for one. They could have just copied it and it would have been perfect. Like,
absolutely,
what are they doing? Like, I just don't understand. So yeah, like, man, I don't get it. I don't get it. It just, like, I would love to ask Druckmann these questions. Like, you know, why are you making all these like really bizarre changes to the show? I understand, like, you know, maybe you just need to make things flow a little different when it's like episodic TV or whatever, but it's just not working. It really isn't. Like, it's just really, really strange. I'm obviously excited to see where the show goes with Abby next season. Like, I actually think it'll be refreshing to not have Ellie on screen, which is very sad to say as well. I've never kind of felt more sorry for an actress in my life than I have been for Bella Ramsey, because like the sheer amount of hate she's getting online, some of it I can kind of, you know, find funny or whatever. And, you know, like, yeah, she hasn't acted great in this season, but like, you know, people are going way too far with it. Like, you know, it's actually crazy. And I feel very sorry for the actress. Like, I don't think people, no matter what you think of a project, like, you shouldn't be bullying a fucking person. Like, you know, that's just,
no, not at all. But it gets so bad. Like everything in the writing and the direction, and, you know, the characterization of all the actors are trying to portray. Like, if it's not done right, you know, they immediately blame the actors. They think that the actors are the main reason. And, you know, maybe it could be, but we need to see another another version of Bella Ramsey somewhere. We need to see like a movie or another TV show that she could maybe fit into, where like if she does the exact same thing again, then we know for sure like, oh shit, okay, so she's actually not that good.
Yeah,
But you know, people really liked her in Game of Thrones because she was the little, like she was like
she
a
was like a little
the
lord, or wasn't she, or something? She was like
yeah, she was called the Little Lord.
yeah, she was like
And
10. She was like 10, I think, when she started in that. Like, and obviously, as a child actor, yeah, she was fantastic. You know, everyone loved her, and she had like real attitude and everything, and she was great. And I loved her in season 1 of this show. She was great, but I just don't feel the same way this season. Lady Mormon, thank you, Griff.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
um,
Funnily, the game was mocapped, right? Oh my god! Like again, and Heavy Spoilers went over this in his video today. Like, basically, yeah, like you know, the voice actors who voiced Ellie and Joel in the game, Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson, both incredible actors, and they did all the actual acting. They did all the mocap and everything. So, you know, like
they didn't have an actual setting. They were just there in a white
yeah,
room
yeah,
with dots on their faces and all their body, and like just to
yeah,
record everything that's going on.
and they did such a fantastic job at it. Like
Mhm.
it was insane. It was insane. It was so good. Um, so like you know, it's not as if the guys who are making it and like you know, it's not as if they can't do it. They've done it. It's been done. You know,
Mhm.
um, I think if you go through each of the episodes and break them down, I think only some of the episodes were written by Neil Druckmann, the guy who created the game. That's a bit of a red flag in my opinion, because I think if I'm not mistaken, maybe correct me if I'm wrong here in the comments, but I believe he wrote all of season 1 and like directed a lot of it as well. And I think that's why season 1 worked maybe more, because it was the same mind who did the game, did the show. Whereas this
Mhm.
season, I don't think he directed any episodes, or maybe he directed 1 or 2, and I think he wrote only a couple of the episodes as well. I spoke about this as well on the last podcast. You know, I was kind of saying, you know, why didn't they just spread out the Pedro Pascal scenes throughout the rest of the show, kind of like what they did with the game? And, you know, it could be while Ellie's on her mission, you know, she's settling down for the night or whatever, camping up somewhere, and she's thinking about Joel, and then we go into a flashback. Like, you know, that's realistically the way they should have done it. But I saw a video. I don't know how true this is, but I saw a video claiming that Pedro was getting like 600K an episode in his way for his wages, and like Bella was getting like 60. So
Jeez.
I think part of the contract would have to be, so say if like Pedro was on set, he shot all of his scenes, he still gets paid for every episode he appears in. So I would say they probably just didn't want to spend mad amounts of money splitting up those scenes and having to pay him for, you know, an appearance in 7 episodes, rather than just go, hey, let's just get him in 3 and
Right.
pay half the money. You know, and like that's fucking stupid in my opinion. Like, you know, money's one thing, you know, and if the show's good, they'll make the money back. And if the show is good, it will be evergreen. It'll last forever. People will be streaming it for years. It'll make money forever, you know. But when you try and save money day one, you're basically destroying the legacy of the show, and it's going to have way less people revisiting it and streaming it and watching it again and again. Like I would be very comfortable going back and rewatching season 1. I'll probably never rewatch this season. You know what I mean? Like it's a one and
Mhm.
done. And if they had maybe spread out the scenes with Pedro and we got to see some world class acting in every single episode, it would have probably kept around a lot of the viewership. It probably would have made more money, and it probably would be more of evergreen content and able to kind of go back and have rewatchability. I think they were thinking with their wallets and not thinking with their heads, and like the numbers are there. Like we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but you can clearly see the number of people reviewing episode 2 halves to episode 3. So like if the people who take the time to go and review the episode and write up a review, if that halves, like think about the amount of people that just aren't watching it at all. Think about the people that maybe watched it and went, "Fuck this, I'm out." The drop off was crazy, and I think
Right.
they like I've been seeing you always see like all these like sites and like the Hollywood trades and stuff. They're always trying to kind of like big up like Marvel and stuff like that. And this is something I want to talk about like but when we get off this topic. But they're always trying to like justify a bad box office by saying, well, the budget was only this and they've made double the budget and stuff like it. It's like, yeah, but they're not actually successful movies. Like Disney want to be making $1 billion every time they go to the box office. Like that's what they want, you know? And when they don't do that, that's a fail in their opinion. The movie could be good. The movie could be bad. That's a different story. Like it's money. Hollywood is money. Like that's all that matters. You know, my girlfriend watches this show, The Wheel of Time, like very, very popular book series. They had 3 seasons on Amazon, and I watched season 1. It was okay. I didn't really watch season 2, but I heard it was terrible. Season 3 was meant to be incredible, like so good. But the problem is by the time they got to season 3, the viewership had dropped off. Like people are just like, fuck this, I'm not watching it after season 2. They had a fantastic season 3, but Amazon went and canceled the show because no one's watching it because guess what? It's not fucking making them money. So like that's just the way Hollywood is, you know. And for a show like this to get a 55% drop off, like because they're not spending a bit more money to get Pedro in more episodes, like that's just absolutely ridiculous. Like it's stupid in my opinion. Like HBO have like no shortage of money. Like, you know, like they're making shows like left and right. Spend the extra money to get Pedro in more episodes. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's crazy.
It's really crazy, man. Like it's just, you know, and doing these contracts, of course, like it's like you said, when you have a higher grade actor working on this project, it's going to cost you a lot. So you really need to like fit the budget a little bit better. But I mean, if they were to spread it out on Pedro, yeah, it would run their budget dry, which really sucks, man. Like, you know, when it comes to a TV show, since Bella Ramsey is going to be kind of the main part of the show, not paying her as much as Pedro at the least, like, you know, is fucking, it seems like a crime. Like it seems like it's so weird, you know, how it's these last few episodes with Joel and they just want to pay out Pedro as if he's like a god. But like at the same time, you know, I kind of see why he just has such a
he's a seasoned actor, and you know, he's got the credits are there. He's made the money. Do you know what I mean? Like again, I bring it back to money, but like he's been in franchises and he's done like box office smashes and he's made studios lots of money. And you know, Game of Thrones was incredibly, you know, again, I don't know actually. Maybe Bella had a bigger role in that, but like he's like, you know, he's done like Narcos and stuff like that, which has just been like massive success for like Netflix and stuff like that. So, and like obviously now he's in the MCU and he's going to be Reed Richards and all this stuff. And like, I think he's an incredible actor, and of course he's going to make more money than Bella. Now, the fact that like she's making 60K and he's making 600K, yeah, that's probably a bit ridiculous. Like, maybe she deserves more money, but like I don't think that's the studio's fault. I think that's her agent's fault. They're not getting her the money that she should be getting. And that's that the studio are obviously going to take. They're gonna pay as little as they fucking can. You know what I mean? Like I think she needs to have a discussion with her representatives, and she needs to get more money, especially if now she's the lead of the show. Like she deserves lead money if she's the lead of a show. So again, I would hope that her agents are able to sort that out for her. Okay, what's up? How are you? Yeah, man, I just like again, it's going to be a very weird show coming into season 3 where we're going to be focusing on a completely different character. Like I think for gamers like us who have played the games and we understand why they're doing this, I think it's going to be good. Like I have actually high hopes for season 3. I think season 3 will be better than season 2. But like I can only just imagine what a normal fan who is not a gamer is going to sit and think like, hey, where's Ellie? Like, where's Dina? What's going on? Like, why are we here? Who's this? Why are we following this person? You know, it might feel a bit weird. And I don't know if it's going to take off or it's going to fall like a lead balloon. Like it can go either way. Like it's a bit of a bold move, honestly. Like I think Catherine O'Hara, who plays the shrink in the show, she has said that, you know, she has no screen time at all in season 3. So like that kind of says that there's going to be no Jackson scenes. There's going to be no kind of flashbacks, nothing to do with Ellie. Like it's going to be all the Abby and the Wolf side of things and the scars and everything. And I'm excited to see that. But, you know, some normie people might be like, well, what the hell is this show now? Like Pedro's dead, you know, I just started liking this Jesse dude. Now he's dead. And it's like, where's Dina? Has she had the baby? Like, is Ellie dead? Like, you know, the big cliffhanger. Like, and now it's like, Yeah, it's like, but like now, like again, normal people who haven't played the games are just like, is everybody dead? Like, what's the point of me watching this show? It feels like everyone's gone, you know? So
Right.
I don't know. It's a bold move. I hope it works out for them. I really do. Like, again, I'll be watching it 100%. Like, even, I kind of had a feeling like coming into like the last couple of episodes, like looking at the ratings, episode 3 had a 6.8, episode 4 had a 6.2, episode 5 came back up to like a 7.3. Then Joel's like flashback episode was an 8.6, phenomenal.
Hmm.
But then like the finale gets like a 6.5. And like again, it's like, 34,000 reviews, 24,000 reviews. The finale, 15,000 reviews. So like it's very clear that, less people are giving a shit about the show as it's going on. Um yeah, so I don't know. What's up, Shark? How are you? Clearly nobody watched Game of Thrones if they think like that. Um I don't know. Like I think Game of Thrones is a bit of a different show. Like, there's 10 fucking there's 10 stories going on at the same time, and you know what I mean. You're jumping from the north to Khaleesi, and then you're going like King's Landing, and you're all over the place. Like there's like so many different things happening at once. But could you imagine if Game of Thrones was only about Jon Snow, and then like they do a cliffhanger where Jon Snow's dead, and now it's like, okay, we're gonna go to King's Landing for a whole season, and it's like we might see Jon Snow in 2 years' time. Like that'd be weird, you know. I don't
Maybe.
know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like again, I'm down. we know where it's going. Um. So like, yeah, let's just wait and see how it goes. Aren't they doing a show with just Jon Snow? I think that got cancelled, if I'm not mistaken. Um. I don't know. Like House of the Dragon is obviously a massive success. I don't think people really want to see what happens after the show because the show ended so poorly. I think people are. It's kind of like Star Wars. It's like we don't really care what happens after the sequels. Like let's just go somewhere else. Let's do something else. Um, I don't think people want to see what happens after season 8 of the show. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's why House of the Dragon is such a success because it's a prequel and the shitstorm hasn't hit yet.
Hmm.
Yo,
Right.
Todd, what's up? How are you? Guys, I appreciate everybody who's hanging out in the chat with us, and anybody who's watching a replay. I appreciate it. Leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think about all this. Do you have anything left to say about the show, or do you want to move on to some other topics?
Uh, yeah, I think I'm good. I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you rate out like now that it's over? How would you rate how would you rate the series as in its entirety?
Um, ooh, I'd probably give it like a low 6, man. Like it
Mm,
just it
that's a
didn't
very fair
appeal to
score.
me. Yeah, it was okay. It just wasn't, it didn't really hit as hard as like the first season. So
Yeah, yeah, 6. I
um,
probably would give it a 6 as well. And I think if the Joel episodes weren't in it, it'd be like a 4. So
yeah.
yeah, I think Pedro. A lot of people are kind of tired of seeing Pedro and everything, but I think he absolutely stole the show in this show. Like he was incredible. People were skeptical of him being cast as Joel in the beginning, but he just fucking played an absolute belter, played a stormer with it.
Mhm.
House of the Dragon is a success because it has dragons. Everybody watches these 8 seasons waiting for the dragons. Yeah, I suppose. Okay. Oh my God, Todd says here in the chat, I am in the 1% who's never seen Game of Thrones. That's crazy. Although
Nice.
Alex, you were like that like only a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, because I was asked to watch it, so I ended up coming around watching it.
And if you weren't asked to watch it, would you not have watched it?
Probably not.
Yeah, that's insane. Like, because I think the show, like again, it broke the stereotype of being like a nerdy show. Like my parents were watching it, all my friends were watching it. Like most of who like wouldn't watch Star Wars, wouldn't watch Lord of the Rings, wouldn't watch any of that nerdy crap, as so they'd say. Like everybody was watching Game of Thrones. It was like the one that and maybe Breaking Bad are like the 2 times that I've ever like had to like stay off social media because like the second you look at your phone, it was like Spoilerville everywhere after an episode. And because it aired at 2 a.m. for us on a Sunday night into Monday morning, you could never just, like people in Ireland used to stay up on Sunday night and they'd watch the show live at 2 a.m. just so that they wouldn't get spoiled. and they'd be going to bed at 3 a.m. and up at 9 a.m. for work, like, or up at fucking 7:30 in the morning to have to, commute into the city to go to work. Like, so you're operating on 4 hours sleep just so you didn't see a spoiler. Like that's special. That's a global phenomenon. Like, like that's different. Like that's not like The Last of Us being a popular show and, viewing in millions of households. This is different shit, Sleep with your dead. I agree. Well, sure, look, I'm up to 2 a.m. gaming most nights, so I'm not one to judge people, but I basically I couldn't stay up to watch a TV show. Maybe I'd do it now, but I wouldn't have done it back when the show was airing. I'd just be like, no social media, stay off my phone for that day, and then come back and watch it the day after, like, or watch it on Monday night my time. But yeah, I don't know if we get TV that good again, which is sad to think about. But I would hope that we do. But I don't know. We'll have to see.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, I hope so. Like, I love when something just has everybody so fucking hyped, and like, even with our small channel, I can see the popularity in things, through trends of how many views we get in our podcast episodes. We were talking about like a Marvel movie, we get double the views than when we're talking about this show. Like, this episode will probably, in a week's time, still be probably sitting on like 50 streams or something. And like, obviously very thankful for everybody who listens. But if we talk about like the new Marvel movie that comes out, or the new DC movie or something like that, we're probably guaranteed 2 or 3 times the viewership. So like, it definitely, even on our channel, it like, you can see trends of what's good and what's not.
Mm-hmm. Breaking
Bad is true greatness. Yeah, like, Breaking Bad is, for me, probably, it's easily like a top 5 TV show for me ever. It's incredible. There's like The Sopranos, like Game of Thrones, each seasons 1 to 6, like, greatness. The Wire, greatness, and they're all these shows are HBO as well, which is kind of crazy. Breaking Bad obviously isn't, but Breaking Bad is just so good. What about Marvel? What about Marvel? What do you mean? Like, do you mean Marvel in popularity, like worldwide popularity? Marvel are kind of in the toilet right now, and one of the topics that I wanted to bring up was just that I'm looking at like the box office for Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts has been out for like a month now, almost, basically just a month, and it's sitting on the global number of 357 million globally in the box office, which is one of their worst performing movies in the MCU, which is crazy to think, because the movie is good. I really like the movie. And I'm not going to go see the movie 2 or 3 times, but I think the movie deserves better than that. I think the score of the movie is fair. It's on a 7.6. It's a very fair score. Like, Captain America 1 is around the same, and like, the Iron Man movies are around the same, and I think, it's on par. Like, it's a very kind of middle of the ranking for the MCU movie, and I think that's a fair score. But people just are gone. They're checked out. The Thunderbolts and Captain America 4 combined globally haven't even done $1 billion. The 2 of them together.
I think
Deadpool and Wolverine does 1.3 by itself. It's insane. Like,
I think because the amount of chaos that happens within these movies is like very minimal compared to like Deadpool and Wolverine. At the very least, like, we had good cameos, we had a great setup to these characters' backstories. We had we had sound effects, we had like, all these different aspects of Marvel that you hardly ever get to see in a standard movie. A lot of the movies that we've seen lately are very covert ops, and I think people are getting a little tired of that. And I know people are saying, "Oh, we're having superhero fatigue." It's like, no, I think it's more so we're not getting the right heroes on the board. I think we're not really outputting the right heroes that people want to see, or we're not putting out the correct style of those heroes. Because I feel like Punisher could totally be another movie. I would love to have another Punisher movie. and
Yeah.
just have it gory as hell. Like just all these different types of killings, all these different, you know, goes into like some like a mafia home and just massacres everybody that's there, gets information about who's behind what and whatnot, and then fucking murder them right afterwards. Like it's
Yeah.
just it's such a cool idea to have that kind of character go just causing so much mayhem. Like with Deadpool, it's like just, you know, all this fourth wall breaking, which is fun, and also
Mhm.
like just pointing out things or just having like the basically the time of your life while also trying to save things. Knowing that this character can't really die, so he could just get stabbed, shot, blown up, and it's fun. Because if you remember Deadpool 2, like that movie was awesome. I fucking love the moment when Juggernaut's like, I'm gonna pull you apart now.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
And he's
literally
like,
grabs him.
and Wade's like, I'm honored, sir. Please do it. Yeah, no, I do like it. I do like it. And like I think like Sharky's talking about, you know, why hasn't Bernthal got a movie is a very good question. And I think the reason is down to Disney and down to them having such a high belief in Disney Plus and the streaming service and wanting to do everything in a TV show and now realizing that none of that actually works. Like they bring back like a smash hit like Daredevil and it doesn't do what they want it to do. Like I think everybody in the world thought that that was going to be the easiest win ever. It was going to be a great show and it was just going to be phenomenal. And you know, it was fine, but it wasn't what it should have been. You know, it should have been an easy fucking win. The Obi-Wan Kenobi show should have been a simple fucking win. The dude who wrote the TV show had actually originally written it as a trilogy and had a way better storyline. And they took his story and went, nah, fuck it, let's just spread it out and chop a load of shit out and put it into 6 episodes and put it up on a TV show. And that's the mentality. That's where they're at. Where they think everything could be a TV show. We'll just stream whatever we want. The MCU is so powerful that we can just, it's in autopilot. We can put out whatever we want and everything will just sell. It'll be $1 billion, blah, 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 blah. And now we know that actually your fan base won't just sit there like zombies and watch whatever you put out. People do still, there is no fatigue. You're right. You know, people, 1.3 billion for Deadpool and Wolverine. People went to the cinema to see that film, but they're not going to watch Captain America 4 with Sam Wilson because a lot of people don't watch the TV show. Like I've talked to people in real life who are comic book nerds, who are Marvel fans, but don't sit and watch the Disney Plus shows. And they're like, you know, who the fuck is John Walker? Who is this guy? Wait, he was Captain America? What's going on? Why does he have a shield? You know, why is he dressed like Captain America? Like who, what, wait, hang on. Falcon is Captain America now? What the hell's going on? When did this happen? You know, like that's actually conversations I've had with people. And I've seen other podcasts and stuff like that and people talking like, you know, oh, the movie was fine, but I didn't know who John Walker was. I like him now that I've seen the movie, but I didn't know who he was beforehand. And people are like, did you not watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier? No. You know, it's like that's a lot of the fan base. So the problem is that you're not getting, and like I think Feige himself has said it, that the TV shows have gotten to a point where they don't feel like spectacles anymore. They feel like homework. And that's the wrong way to do it. You know, people feel like, oh God, I gotta watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier now, so that when I watch Captain America 4, it makes sense. And now I've got to watch, you know, fucking WandaVision before I watch Doctor Strange 2 because, you know, now it'll make sense when Wanda goes bad or whatever. And like it's just a lot of people don't want to do that. You know, it's too much. Like, and imagine being a new fan coming into the thing and it's like you've got to watch 45 films and 10 TV shows. People are just going to be like, what? No, I'm not doing that. You know, like what's the point? What's the payoff? Like, you know, so I can understand why some people might think like, yeah, it's quite daunting and there's a lot to do. Like it is a lot of homework. Obviously, I'm going to say yes, it is worth doing, but a lot of people don't feel that way. Like a lot of people aren't like massive fans like we are, and they're not going to sit through all of that, all those movies and all those TV shows. Like it just is what it is. And from what I understand now, Vision Quest will be the last TV show that actually directly affects the MCU with a movie star or a movie actor. Like he's come out and said this now. So anything after Vision Quest will be kind of actual like B or C level characters that will not be appearing in movies. So we are jumping into literal side quests and literal like who gives a fuck storylines, like where it's going to be like something like Agents of Shield, where it's going to be like, oh hey, I know that guy, or oh, he works for that team or whatever, or it's like, oh, this is the sidekick of so and so who we haven't met yet, whatever it is. But
Mhm.
it's gonna turn out that you're not going to be getting like the Vision showing up or Wanda showing up on TV anymore. Like all the big actors are not going to be on the small screen anymore. It's going to be all of them just gone to the big screen, and the small screen will have their own stories, which you can watch, but it's not going to be critical viewing anymore. It's going to be just bonus content, DLCs, whatever you want to call it, which I think is probably for the better, because everything I've just said, the fact that you have people going to the cinema to watch Thunderbolts and going, who's that? Who's this? What's this? That's kind of crazy. Like getting and John Walker is a great character, and I think he's developed even better in the film, and I like him more after watching that movie than I did watching the TV show. But the fact that there's like thousands and thousands of people watching that film not even knowing who he is kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Like I understand that it's
Shaggy says it perfectly here. Sorry, in the chat here, for I'll read it out for anyone just listening. It's like discover a book series and finding out there's 30 books. Never mind. That's perfectly it.
Well, no, like that I disagree with. That's completely different. If you have a book series and you know that there's 30 books and you have to read all 30 books, that's on you to read it. That's you. But if it's like there's 30 books, but also you need to watch the movie in between those books so that you can get an idea of what happens in between books 23 and 25. You need to watch this movie in order to get this going on. So like that's where I draw the line. You got 30 books. Fuck you. You read all 30 books. You get the whole story. If it's 30 books plus 5 movies plus two pamphlets of shit, no, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Well, I understand where Sharky's coming from in a certain point of view. If it's something that you're not really interested in, and then you find out that there's this big, massive fucking backlog of stuff that you have to read, it's going to put you off. But let's say, for example, like you watch the first season of Supernatural, and then you're like, oh, this is great. And then it's like, oh my God, there's fucking 14 more seasons. This is incredible. So like there's two sides to it. Like there's the side where it's like you're thankful that there's so much content because it's good and you want to just catch up. But then there's times where it's like, well, I'm not really interested in this to begin with. And now you're telling me that I have to watch 30 films and read 15 books and, try and find these rare comic books and to try and be fully in the know. Like that's very daunting for a lot of people. Not for you.
Right, but no, that's still very opinionated. That's still very much on the side of I'm not interested. Why the fuck would I read like 30 volumes of this? That's different. If you read the first book and you weren't interested, you stop, right? Now if you're the type that goes, I have to finish it because I read the first book, that's your own fault. Yeah. You should have done the research beforehand. You don't start something that you're not going to finish unless you're a psycho.
Yeah.
Because that's
another prime example, like again, to bring up this Wheel of Time show that my missus watches and loves. Like she's read all the books and loves the books. But like, I didn't watch season 2. Season 3's finished now and they've cancelled the show. But she's saying to me like, oh, you have to watch the show, like, because season 3 is really good. But I'm sitting there going, oh, I don't want to have to go through season 2 because you've told me it's bad. And now I know it's bad. And I don't want to have to watch something bad to get to something good, to then get to the end of something good to realize it's cancelled. Like that just puts me off automatically. So
but at the same time, dude, like that's another example is like Game of Thrones. Like if you told me you could stop at season 6 or at the end of season 6 and don't watch season 7 or 8, but the story ends in terms of the show at season 8. It's not that it was like canceled or anything. It's just that it ends at season 8. So you have to experience that whole uprising and decline and fall. You have to experience all that. Like if you're actually interested, you're going to go through the shit parts. And that's what we did with The Last of Us. Did we stop watching it out of like all of a sudden because we were just not interested anymore? No, we watched it because we played the game. We experienced the story within the game, and now we want to see it reinterpreted within the show. When it came to Andor, I started the first season and I couldn't get into it, so I stopped because I didn't finish the season. I wasn't trying to finish the season because I just wasn't interested in it. I stopped myself from going further. You didn't tell me to keep going until you got to season 2, and then you're telling me, oh, it's good. Now I'm in the mindset of like, well, maybe I should rewatch and get into season 1 so that I can at least understand season 2, finish season 2, and then see what the whole fuss is about. So like, it's just it's all in the mindset. If you're telling me like, did you watch the first season of Wheel of Time?
I did, yeah.
So even though it's shit in the middle, wouldn't you want to like experience the good at the end?
I'm less inclined to, because I know it's leading to nowhere, because they're gonna just end the show where I know there's 15 books, and I know there's only 3 seasons, so I know it's an unfinished story. Does that make sense?
Didn't Firefly get canceled?
Yes, I was very upset about that, obviously, as the rest of the world was, but that was one of the things where that show probably shouldn't have ended, but it was cancelled for whatever reason, but it's become so legendary that people will watch it anyway as a kind of one-off.
Right. So that there's that's exactly what I'm talking about. You told me it's canceled. So the story never ends successfully. But you tell me it's one of the greatest shows you've ever watched. So what prevents me from wanting to watch it now? If you told me, seasons 2 and 3 are shit, but like 4, 5, and 6 are fucking golden, like you could tell me that about Supernatural. You could be like, oh, from season 7 onward, it gets a little rickety, but like from seasons 10 through 15, it's a fucking masterpiece. It ends so well. It's like, I'd still want to experience that. And I'd want to be able to have that moment with you so that I could be like, you know what? I actually like season 7. You know, I really like that. Why haven't you told me that season 5 was one of the greatest seasons of all time? That ending was so insane, but they left the cliffhanger there because they knew they were probably going to continue on from where Sam was, right? Like, because of what everything, like, so it's like, it's that whole experience that you get. If you stop because you think it's going to be shit in the middle, you don't get that like cool moment that you get with your friends and your family about like how fucking, like, you can't give your opinion on it anymore. And I think that's what kind of like hurts the whole premise of it. And that's where I'm kind of getting from. It's not like I'm not trying to tell you, oh, you have to watch shit in order to get to the good parts. I'm just saying, like, don't you want to just experience it anyway if someone tells you like they recommend, especially like your loved one?
Yeah. It's for me, there's just such a sea of stuff to watch, and for me it's like I try and prioritize my time, and if I know something's not going to be good for, potentially 12 hours of my time, I just kind of want to spend that time doing other things, so
Yeah,
for me, yeah, like,
that's valid. That's a valid reason.
I fully agree with what you're saying, and I'm sure she'll turn around at some point to be like, "Please, like, you have to watch the show," and I'm sure I'll fold, and I will watch it, but it's just not high on my priority list, because I just know I'm gonna have to go through a shit season and then watch what could be a great season, and then get pissed off because it's over. I get hurt all over again,
Right, but like that's a valid reason, because you know where your priorities are, but like, just stopping, like, I'm going back to the 30 books thing, like, reading a book in its entirety and then going, it's shit, and then stopping from that point, I totally understand. Reading part of the book and then finding out that there's 30 volumes of it just to get through the entire story, and you're already tired of it, that's on you, man. Like, I can't see it as a means of like going, oh, well, 30 volumes, I can't do that. How do you think I would be if I didn't finish One Piece?
Yeah.
So like over 1,100 episodes. Like, it's an insane. You see, like again, so you gonna watch One Piece?
Yeah, Sharky in the chat. Are you gonna watch One Piece? I'm not gonna watch the anime. I will absolutely stick with the live action, because again, I'm up to speed and I started it on day one and I liked it. I'll stick with the live action. And I think, were you saying that there's like a reboot show happening or something? Is there something like that?
They're essentially doing like a remastering, in the sense like it's an entire like redoing of the first, like the Romance Dawn saga, which I think they're going to cut a few things here and there to increase like the pace of it because so many people were complaining. But at the same time, I got to say about that, because they redid Fishman Island, and there's people that hate that shit because they said it just cut out too much shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, where's your happiness in the middle? Like it's so funny when I hear that kind of shit. It's like, well, why didn't you just watch it for its entirety? It's like, oh, well, I just didn't like the fact that they were standing there for an additional 5 to 10 seconds. It's like, dude, what else are you doing with your life? Are you are you serious? Like, if you're watching the show and you're going, oh, it's too long, I can't do it while I wash the dishes. Watch it in English. Listen to it on the side. Wait for moments where it gets interesting or fights happen. Have if you know the conversations are going to happen, you know what these characters look like. You can totally go off and do your own thing, especially if you understand the language. So like, don't complain to me when you're telling me that like it's 1,100 episodes, it takes too long. No, it doesn't. I could do dishes and watch, I could do dishes and do Breaking Bad. I did Breaking Bad without looking at it. The first time around, I did Breaking Bad without looking at it. I promise you, like I didn't watch shit.
You're insane.
I only went to look at it when it actually became somewhat interesting in certain areas. And then I realized, okay, well, this is a show that requires a bit of focus here and there, but I can still get some work done.
Yeah, I'm not like that. You know, I think you're a different type of viewer to me. Like I need to like sit and watch something, and especially with like anime, and this is why I like watching the dubs, because I actually love like looking at the art and like analyzing the drawings and everything, and like watching Demon Slayer, like I'm like looking at all the fucking like beautiful like scenes that we're seeing. So that's why I don't like reading subtitles on top of that, because I feel like I'm missing out on some of the art, you know?
So I get that. I completely understand where you're coming from. But at the same time, the show really takes a moment to showcase it all. They literally will go to an area and they'll go, here's the area. Here's what it looks like. They'll show scenes within the area. They'll show like the canals. Like I'm like, let's say Water 7. They go to this area that's just nothing but like flowing water. They go through the canals. You see people going there, like buying food. They're on these like little like water dragon things, like going around doing stuff. There's people communicating all around. They show you that in that sense. And you get like the feeling of, oh man, this place is fucking huge. They, even when they get to certain parts, when it gets they go to the water elevator, it takes a moment to tell you what the water elevator does and like what, like, how it's lifting up the boats and everything. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so good at explaining things to you as well. Like, and also my other argument is like, how fast or slow do you read? Because if you don't read that fast, I totally get it if you want to watch it in dub, but like I read it so fast and then I get back to the show. And then when it comes to the fight scenes, any of the acrobatics, any of the choreography, there's no talking. You get to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm probably a bit of a slower reader. And I don't know if I try and like act it out. Like when I'm reading a comic book, like if I'm reading Batman, I'm nearly like acting out the scenes in my head. So like I'm reading it and like in my head, like I have the voice.
You put on a cowl.
No, I have like the voice of Kevin Conroy in my head, so I'm reading it in Kevin's voice, and like I'm trying to like act out the scenes, and I'm looking at every panel, and I'm trying to like make the fucking page move, like So I'm very slow reading comics, so I'm probably a bit slower reading than you would be. Like my missus watches English shows with subtitles on, and I'm just like, can we turn the subtitles off, please? Like they just distract me on the screen because like my eyes just go there and I'm not watching the scene because like I'm just like I'm looking at the words, and I'm even like I watch the people say the words, and like sometimes I'll read like, and this really drives me crazy in English as well, but like I'll be like watching an episode, and then like the way like sometimes they'll bring up like 3 blocks of text. You've read it before the person said the word. So I'm like reading a word, and then it's like there's like a fucking it's like a desync in my head. I'm like thinking there's a fucking audio desync because I'm reading the words and then they're saying them. So that shit drives me bananas, man. I hate that. So obviously that's not going to happen when you're listening to Japanese and reading English. Obviously that's different, but yeah, I think I've said this to my missus all the time. We have arguments about it all the time, but it's like I think if like she watches English shows with English subtitles on, and she's not the only one who does it, but that shit melts my brain. I hate it.
No, Katie and I watch the Great British Baking Show like with subtitles. Not just because it's like easier to like on the eyes, especially while you're like looking at this. I'm watching all the cooking that's going on, but like it's sometimes a little bit difficult to listen or hear like what they're saying.
Yeah,
Some of the accents are really
accents, yeah, are
strong.
are a big
So,
thing.
but like I could do with I honestly I could do without subtitles for that, but I I also understand that like some people need them. I don't know what it is with like our significant others, but it always feels like one person out of the group always needs subtitles.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, and again, like my missus watches everything with subtitles, and now like my son's starting to do it too, and I'm just like, oh. So like now there's like double the TV that I watch is like subtitle TV. So, but like if we're ever sitting down to watch something, I just turn the subtitles off. I don't say anything, and sometimes
Right.
she'll turn to me and she'll be like, "What did he say there?" And I might have to like repeat something that she didn't hear. Or sometimes I don't hear it either, and that doesn't bother me as much. So like she might say, "What did he say there?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I don't know," and then we have to rewind back and watch it again. But I'm just like, oh, whatever, like it'll be fine, So,
Yeah.
it is what it is. But yeah, sometimes like the accents get to her a bit more, like especially like the UK stuff. I find it a bit easier to hear the UK accents than she does. So I can understand why she does it, but I just hate it. I just hate it.
I gotta say though, man, those Scottish accents when the Scots get
Yeah,
into the baking show, it is really hard to understand what they're
yeah,
saying.
yeah. There's parts of Ireland, man, where you would maybe understand two words out of what they're saying, like a full sentence. You'd be like, "What?" You might catch two words. Like some of the accents are so thick, and like even like where my girlfriend's from, like some of the people who have very thick accents out that side of Ireland, I can't understand what they're saying. You know what I mean? Like when I first started meeting her family, some of the men in the family, like they were like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And you're just like, I'm like, it's a loud room and I'm drinking as well. I'm kind of just sitting there like trying to like really fucking hear what they're saying. It's tough, man. So yeah, no subtitles in real life. It's even worse.
Yeah,
And
I've seen those videos where like they go to pubs and whatnot, and like
oh,
they ask the
tough, man.
people. And in my head though, I'm like, are you asking them while they're sober, or are you asking them while they're drunk? Because I feel like it's gonna get worse if they get drunk.
Smile and nod, Vinto. Smile and nod. Yeah, but that's tough though. But then it's like they're asking you a question, and you're like, "What the fuck's this guy doing? He's not answering me." So that could be a dangerous game too. Um, uh, Want to just quickly talk about some Spider-Man 4 news. I don't know if you heard it. I think I sent you a video during the week. There was some news broke about Spider-Man 4.
Mhm.
Um, Basically, I think it's pretty much solid news, but it might still be in the rumorville at the moment. But apparently, Mark Ruffalo, aka the Hulk, is going to have a big part to play in Spider-Man 4. And from what I'm hearing in some of the like potential plot leaks, that he's going to go Savage again. I heard this news, man, and I was just like, oh my god, Alex is going to be so fucking happy if this is true. Like, what's going to apparently happen is, there's going to be an incident in New York, and Hulk's going to go Savage, and he's going to be like the villain of the movie because Spider-Man's going to have to stop the Hulk. I'm just like,
Right.
whoa, that could be fucking great. And then, like, if that opens up to like the likes of Doomsday and Secret Wars happening, and we have Savage Hulk back, I think that would be like fantastic. So I pray it's true. I haven't seen any like official, announcements from, like any of the Hollywood trades saying that, Ruffalo is 100% back, but I think, some very, very solid sources are saying it. So yeah, it's looking good.
I think it'd be cool too during this process to at least bring Samson in so that they can like kind of work on like soothing the mind and having them like like because Samson's just such a cool character to have in that
Yeah.
in that whole scheme, because like Samson's kind of like Bruce's therapist in the
Mhm.
sense like for Hulk,
Yeah.
able to kind of contain or enter the mind of the Hulk and like see what's actually going on, what's causing all this. And it's kind of like what I was hoping for when they did Endgame, because like they kind of merged together, but it's like, oh, me and him had a talk, and it's like, oh, come on, man, you could have at least brought Samson into the mix.
Yeah. Um, I think I don't know if they're doing this like bringing back Savage so that they can like maybe do some like story from like the comics, like the way Hulk remembers who Peter is, but Bruce doesn't. Bruce forgets, but like the spell doesn't work on Hulk. So I wonder, are they like maybe doing this to be able to have that payoff in the film, and maybe have that connection. So like there's a big fallout between the Hulk and Spider-Man, and then it ends with Savage Hulk going like, "Hey Peter," and then like it's like Peter has that moment where it's like, "Oh my god, somebody remembers who I am," and then you have that kind of great moment and that bonding moment between the two characters, and maybe that's how they kind of resolve the conflict or something. That'd be a pretty cool scene to see. Like, I would really like to see that. I think that'd be really cool. Another rumor for the film as well, and this kind of goes back to something we were talking about earlier. I didn't want to kind of jump straight into it, but there's also a rumor for Spider-Man 4 that the Punisher is going to be in it. Bernthal himself on the big screen. I know we were kind of talking about how it's crazy that he doesn't have a big screen role yet. And funny enough, obviously we had in the last Spider-Man movie, we had Daredevil appear, and obviously in the extended cut, there's 2 scenes with him. So yeah, I think it's cool that potentially Spider-Man is bringing some of these Netflix characters to the big screen, which is great. Also, obviously, I saw somebody talking online. I saw a Twitter post about like, people like, I can't believe they won't just give Spider-Man a solo movie. Like, why does he have to keep having like, people showing up in the movie with him? He can't just have a solo adventure. And I actually think I heard Den and Nerds talk about this, and I think he's right in what he's saying. But I think that's part of the contract between Sony and Marvel, is that to get a Spider-Man in the MCU, there has to be a team up. So there has to be like Marvel giving a character, Sony giving a character. So like Sony gives Spider-Man, Marvel have to give a character. So if you think about every single movie that we've had so far, Spider-Man 1 was Iron Man. Spider-Man 2 was Nick Fury and Maria Hill. Spider-Man 3 was Doc Strange, and then obviously all the Sony characters. And now this one, it's like we need someone from the Avengers. Boom, Hulk. So it's adding up.
I mean, I agree. I agree with Sharky on this. Like, it's still named Spider-Man. Like, I think it's so odd that people don't understand that like, it's a fucking universe, man.
Yeah.
Like, let people, like, can people not live? Can Daredevil not like hang out with Spider-Man for a day? Like, we wouldn't have had Charlie Cox.
Some of the best stories, in my opinion, are like buddy, like team ups and crossovers and all that stuff. Like, that's why we love the MCU to begin with. This is all about crossovers. Like, so I don't know what people are getting mad about. Like, I do understand, when we first meet Toby Spider-Man, it's a solo adventure. When we first meet, Andrew Spider-Man, it's a solo adventure. We don't really see it's him kind of battling and coming to his powers and learning to adversity and stuff by himself. But this is a different Spider-Man. Like, you're coming into a Spider-Man that lives in a universe that's a shared universe with an Avengers team. Everything is already pre-established. We have multiple Avengers teams now. We have like, Eternals and everything. Like, it's crazy. X-Men are coming, crazy shit. It's very different to Toby's Spider-Man and very different to Andrew's Spider-Man, where there doesn't seem to be any other heroes. They're the only hero of New York City. Like, that's just the way those stories are told. So of course, like, it makes sense that Tom's movie would have Avengers and different characters coming in, because it's a well-established universe. Like, he came in what, 2016 for the first time. The MCU been going for 8 years. So of course there's going to be characters. Like, he comes in the middle of a fucking civil war, so of course there's going to be other characters in his films. Like, that's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Go and watch Raimi's Spider-Man if you just want a solo Spider-Man story, like, or go watch, animated or something. I don't know. MCU is not the right place for you if that's what you want.
Dude, I miss animation so much. Like, X-Men 97 really shows how awesome like animation can be for these characters, for Marvel characters, for X-Men. And unfortunately, it's just not reflected as such. And I don't know if we'll get a rebirth or flourishment of animated shows like we used to back in the 90s, 80s.
I think we're getting there. Like, X-Men 97, fantastic, massive success. We're getting season 2. I think that leads into Spider-Man 98. Like, I think that's a very logical step for them to take. The What If show, rocky, but we got 3 seasons. The Marvel Zombies is coming out. The Spider-Man show that we watched, the freshman year one or whatever it was called, that was fantastic.
That was amazing.
And that's going to get a season 2 too, And again, that's kind of not MCU, but it's kind of dipping into the MCU a bit. Like, you have Charlie Cox playing Daredevil and stuff. Like, that's what we've been talking about this for years. Like just give us an Avengers story that's just an anime, and if you want to pay the actors to come in, fantastic. If you don't, whatever. It's Elseworlds. Who gives a shit? Like, just give us the stories. Yeah, I think we're getting there.
There's already an Avengers anime, right?
Oh yeah. I've
It's
seen
called it's
I
called
haven't
Marvel
watched it.
Future Avengers.
I haven't watched it, but I've seen like, and there's like loads of like older Avengers shows and stuff as well. Like, but not really my thing personally. Like, I love the Spider-Man stuff, but even like I haven't seen any of like the later Spider-Man series. You know, I don't know. I would prefer to watch live action stuff where I am in life right now. Like, obviously for the podcast, I'm happy to dip into the newer animated stuff that's like, you know, on Disney Plus and somewhat connected to the MCU and so on. Like, that it makes sense for us to talk about it here, so I'll watch it. But I'm not going back and watching like, you know, Spectacular Spider-Man from 2010 or whatever. You know, I don't know. It feels a little too childish to me. That it's kind of, you know,
Dude, that stuff's so
I'm
good.
I would happily sit down and watch it like with my kids, and I hope that I have that chance to do that. But again, it's priorities. It's, you know, how do I spend my time here? And I'm not gonna sit down in some of my free time to watch something. I'm not putting on the Spectacular Spider-Man. You know, if it's family time and the kids want to watch it, I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. Better than watching, like, my son is obsessed with watching just like YouTube videos on Minecraft, like, you know, and I have to sit and watch that with him sometimes. I would obviously prefer to be watching some Spider-Man instead of that, but you know, it's his time. Whatever it is, whatever he wants to watch is what we're gonna watch. But yeah, look, again, it's down to priorities. Um, there was some rumors about potentially Daniel Day-Lewis coming to the MCU to play Magneto. What do you think of that?
I mean, if paired with Bryan Cranston as
Yeah,
Professor X, I think that would
yeah,
be kind of funny. I think that'd be
that'd
kind.
be
I think that kind of work out a little.
the
It
two of
just be
them would play so fucking well off each other. It would be incredible. It will be incredible. Now, Sharky makes a good point. It's like, is he going to come out of retirement for that? It'd be a big payday. I think yes. Do I want Daniel Day-Lewis to come in and play Magneto for 1 year? No. You know, I think you need to get an actor who's going to come in and commit to 10 years. You know, do a trilogy and maybe some appearances somewhere else. You know, like, you know, do a trilogy and then some Avengers movies or something like that. Like, you know, or X-Men versus Avengers, whatever the fuck they want to do. I don't want to see someone like Daniel Day-Lewis come in, blow it out of the water, and then 2 years later they just recast again. I'm just like, oh, bro, it's like, you know, what's the point? And like, that was kind of my fear of Hugh Jackman coming back again, because it's kind of like, you know, is he going to come back, just do one more movie and then he's gone again? It's like, you know, we get that taste of greatness one more time and then he's gone. Now, you know, they make the joke that he's going to do it till he's 90, but I actually think that that could actually happen. You know, from what a lot of the leakers and stuff are saying, I think he's going to be Wolverine for a while going forward. So we might get 10 more years of Jackman as Wolverine, which would be obviously incredible.
mhm.
But you know, I don't think Daniel Day-Lewis coming in and doing like 2 movies and then dipping is good in the long run. Obviously, it would be great to see, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I just don't think you can get someone like that, of that caliber, to commit to a potential 10-year contract. I just don't see it happen. Maybe I'm wrong.
Uh,
I don't know.
and I get what you're saying, but at the same time, like, I don't want to be left wondering what could have been with these two actors. You know, if imagine it just gets knocked out of the park
Yeah.
and it's such a great hit, and of course, like, they may be contracted to do more or not, you know, but I honestly, this is like, we go back to this every single time, man. I would much rather do this than to have one Batman for the rest of my life.
Or just
I would
constant
much,
recast. You
yeah,
prefer that? Yeah.
because
I think it works very well for DC, but when you're talking about the MCU, like a connected universe, an ongoing story, I just don't think you can do multiple recasts. And I think, you know, like what they do in the comic books, you know, you do like the Golden Age, the Silver Age, whatever, like, do reboots and start again, and, you know, give us all new characters, and, you know, then just establish the Avengers again. I think that's perfectly fine to do. I wouldn't have a problem with, like, I'd be upset about seeing a lot of the characters go, obviously, but I think at the end of the day, it makes sense to just start again so that you can do another 10, 15-year run with new actors. I think that's perfectly acceptable to do, but it doesn't really work as well when you're in an MCU where it's just one timeline, one connected universe. And the, you know, the reason why we can have 10 different Batmen is because the movies aren't really as religiously connected to the fact that like there's the Snyderverse, there's the DCEU, there's now the DCU, there's Burton's Batman and all this sort of shit. Like, so it's not really the same thing.
So then explain to me how Terrence Howard turned into Don Cheadle. Explain to me how Edward Norton turned into Mark Ruffalo.
These were real world situations that caused the actors to fall out with the thing. They didn't do that for the story. They didn't do that because it's like, oh, we're just rebooting. They did that because they had to. If Terrence Howard copped the fuck on and took proper money, he'd still be War Machine today, I guarantee you. But he wanted crazy money, and they were like, fuck that. And then Edward Norton, we know what happened with him. He had a falling out, like, for creative reasons, and he wanted to direct, and they were like, you're not directing. And we know what happened there. Like, so that's why that happened. And if that didn't happen, I fully believe that Ed Norton would still be the Hulk today.
So then what you're saying is, in order to continue stories, we need to have fights with the actors.
No, I think to get reboots or to get recasts in the MCU, they need to actually end the story and start a new one. They need to end the MCU.
I don't want it to end. That's the problem. I don't want it to end. Just keep going. This isn't 007. This isn't James Bond. This isn't a completely different James Bond. Like, it's just keep going. Just keep going.
It just doesn't make sense though. When it's
if it didn't
the same character.
If it didn't make sense, then why was it so beloved and well received after they saw the next actor?
Again, it's when it's something like Batman, it's a different story. Like when we see Ben Affleck for the first time, he's a brand new Bruce Wayne. I'm not thinking, is this fucking, what's his name?
Right. No, I get what you're saying with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I completely understand.
Different man each time.
Yes, and I understand that. I'm saying, don't do that. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep rolling this forward. Let's just keep the ball rolling until we run out of shit to do, and then reboot it.
Yeah. And like, I think, like, I understand what you're saying, and I think, let's say just randomly the next Thor movie, it's not Chris Hemsworth, it's a different actor. That's going to piss off more people than it's going to kind of like please more people, I think.
What if it was Henry Cavill?
That would like
with a wig.
That'd be like really fucked up for me. Like I would not like that at all.
At first, you might not like it, but what if he's good?
No, like
what if he's good, man?
I think he could do a good job as a Thor or Hercules or something. I think Cavill could do a great job, but I would have a problem with that being the version of Thor that we followed the entire time. And it just, why is he a different actor now?
But that's the fun. That's kind of the fun part, man. Like, some people are like, oh, I loved Michael Keaton's Batman. I don't recall Michael Keaton's Batman that well. I like George Clooney's Batman because it was funny. Like, but nobody really talks about Val Kilmer's because Val Kilmer only had one movie. I mean, like, it's just
Val Kilmer was my Batman as a kid because that was the movie that like I constantly rewatched, and like I liked the Keaton one, but it was a little bit before my time. And then I hated the George Clooney one because even then I knew it was a shit movie. Like, and it was obviously funny, but it was one that I didn't have rewatch value in that.
But that's an example that I'm giving you right now of a continuation of story.
Yeah. But remember, we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago where we had to look it up because I was like, are they actually different movies, or is that actually one continuation, like one universe, one Batman story? And we found out it was.
Because they had the same Alfred.
I have grown up my entire life thinking that those movies weren't connected. Because that's how it feels. Like, that's what it's like. And the MCU don't want that. The MCU
I just think you didn't want it. You didn't want to believe it.
I didn't care. You know what I mean? It didn't bother me. It's not something I ever thought about. And then when we come into like Nolan's Batman, I don't think Nolan's Batman is Ben Affleck. Like, they're different Batman. They're completely different universes. So if Marvel were down the road of doing stories like that and doing Elseworld stuff, I wouldn't give a shit who Iron Man is. You know what I mean? But that's not what we're talking about. That's not what the universe is. You know, like Marvel Comics, you know, when they start drawing Iron Man differently, I think it's just like, you know, we know different artists are coming on and different illustrators and stuff. That's fine and that's accepted. But and you know, and especially with like Batman's been around for like 85 years, and the mainline story Batman is the same story continued, but there's all the different Elseworld stuff, and it's all drawn different, and it's different Batman, and you know, it's all different, you know, versions. But the
Yeah.
main Batman looks different all the time because he's drawn different, and it's accepted because it's like, okay, this is the main storyline, whatever. But I don't think the MCU would work that way. Like if we were just to go on and let's say we're in movie 50 in the MCU and they just randomly decide to recast everyone, but they don't even like mention it, and they just like you were to expect it's just the next episode of the story, it would feel so fucking weird to a lot of people where it's like, whoa, hang on, why is Tom Holland not Spider-Man anymore? What the fuck's happening? And like this is meant to be like Spider-Man 6, but it's not Tom. Like what the fuck's happening?
Did you ever watch South Park's special called The Panderverse?
I think so. Yeah.
When you watched it, did you care at all that Cartman was a black woman?
I do know the episode you're talking about. That shit was so fucking funny, dude. That was so good.
But it was Cartman, right?
Yeah.
It was Cartman. That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at, man. Like, yes, Sharky, if you've not seen that show, if you've not seen that episode of South Park, it's an episode called The Panderverse.
Drop everything.
Literally about everything about like the reiteration of things within like Disney, and literally they put all that shit in there. Like they're talking about Disney, they're talking about what's her name?
Kathleen Kennedy,
and how like she's fucking like
it's just a piss take of Disney and how they're doing everything.
It's not even a piss take, man. It's true.
Oh, sorry, no,
I didn't care. I didn't care that it was
truth. Yeah.
I didn't care that it was a black female playing Cartman. It was Cartman. It was literally Cartman, like literally doing exactly what Cartman would want to do. All he wanted to do while he was in the other universe was rebuild a computer, get the best Wi-Fi or internet control, and then essentially play Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah. Didn't give a shit about the story whatsoever. He just wanted to play Baldur's Gate 3, and I thought it was hilarious. Even PC Principal at the time, he's like Kyle's like, this person saying that they're Cartman. Yeah, okay, why?
You got a problem with them being Cartman?
Yeah, you got a problem with them? Like they're saying they're Cartman.
It's so good. It's so good. I'm sure, Sharky, you've seen clips of it going around, like the whole like Cartman where he's dressed up as Kathleen Kennedy and they're in the board meetings and all. And like she's just like, just make them gay and just put a chick in it, make her lame.
Make her lame and gay. And it's like
that's what's happening. It's so stupid. Like but yeah, like again, South Park just being South Park, like, you know. Yeah,
it's so good. Yeah, like Matt Stone, Trey Parker hit the nail on the fucking head on that one. Like you can totally change characters' designs. You can make them look completely different. As long as they stay the same character, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
that's all.
There's another show that I'm watching at the moment actually called The Studio. It's on Apple TV. It's with like Seth Rogen and stuff, and it's kind of like Entourage, but you're looking at it from like the studio's point of view. It's fucking fantastic. Highly recommend it to everybody. I've got like 2 episodes left, and there's an episode where they're doing like a casting. They're doing like a casting for a movie. They're making a movie about Kool-Aid. Like it's just ridiculous, man. Like again, it's just them poking fun at Hollywood. And they're like, Barbie can make $1 billion. We can make $1 billion off like the Kool-Aid movie. And they're making the Kool-Aid movie, and they get Ice Cube to be Kool-Aid. And then like they're looking at the cast, and they've got like the dude from Transformers, and they've got like all these cool actors and stuff, and they got the Asian woman from like Grey's Anatomy and stuff. Like she's like the main lead female in it and stuff. And they're looking at the cast, and they're like, yeah, this is fucking great. We're gonna make $1 billion. And then one of the guys goes, hang on a second, is it racist that Kool-Aid man is Ice Cube, and then they all start freaking out like, oh my god, what have we done and all this stuff, like, and like it's so on the nose of like what's going on in Hollywood right now. And they basically go like, and they're like, we have to scrap everything, and then they like make everybody black on the cast, and they're like, oh no, now it's even more racist. It's just so stupid. It's so true though, and then like Seth Rogen ends up going to Ice Cube. And he's like, man, I gotta ask you a question. And he's like, what's going on? And he's like, are we all good for the movie and all? And he's like, yeah. He's like, but is it racist that you're, yeah, is it racist? And he's like, Ice Cube's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it's just so funny. Like, and they're like, oh, we're just so scared. Like, it's a bunch of white people like trying to like make a black cast. It's very, very funny. I highly recommend watching the show. It is fucking absolutely class.
That's so good.
It's so good. If you're into, because like I've always been into the behind the scenes stuff, the making of, like, and that's why I love like Entourage and stuff. Like, it was great to see like how they make movies and like like seeing how actors live and all this stuff. And now this is just like Entourage, but not as crazy because you're following like the studio heads and the money. You're not following like the crazy lifestyles of like the rich and the famous. So it's fucking brilliant. I cannot recommend it anymore. I'm absolutely loving it. Did you see they released the cast for the Harry Potter show? Did you see this?
Yeah. What an interesting cast. Kind of wondering how this is going to turn out.
I am of the opinion that this show should not exist at all because
because it's already in movies.
I think that Harry Potter, in my opinion, will go down in history, kind of like Lord of the Rings, like the original trilogy. It's like evergreen to last forever. I bought the trilogy on Steelbook and I rewatched it. And the movies are like 25 years old now, and they're still as incredible as they were day one. I watched Harry Potter, the first 4 Harry Potter movies. I love those movies. Like, I grew up with those movies. And I watch those movies like maybe once a year around Christmas time. Like, it's just kind of a tradition, whatever. I'll kind of just throw them on around the holidays and I'll watch them. I don't need a new Harry Potter. You know what I mean? Like, those Harry Potter movies are perfectly fine. The CGI holds up. The story's great. The actors are fantastic. Like, everything about those movies just works. I don't know why they're rebooting it. I don't know why they're remaking it. Is it like an IP thing that they're trying to hold on? I don't know what the fucking reason is. There's obviously some real world shit getting in the way. Like with everything, they're probably doing it just to hold on to an IP or something. But it just seems so stupid, and I think it's just gonna piss a lot of people off. Like, I just don't see a need for it. Like, and then you run the risk of ruining the story, not doing it right, not doing it justice. Not everyone's going to be comparing every single episode to the movie. They're going to be comparing this poor little kid who's playing Harry. He's going to get compared to Daniel Radcliffe. Obviously we've seen all the fucking crazy backlash of the fact that they hired a black guy to play Snape. Like, again, like, why are they putting themselves in the position to be even criticized in the first place? I don't know. Again, the movies are perfect. Just leave them alone. Like, if they came out and said, we're making Fellowship of the Ring again, I'd be like, why? What the fuck are we doing this for? Like, you know what I mean?
What's the point of that?
What the fuck are we doing this for? It's perfect.
I think an acceptable story to do within in the universe itself is just go all the way as far back as possible and just do like the founding of Hogwarts, do like all like the four house leaders, and just do that. Like, make a like
do Harry's kids. Like, at the very end, the last movie, the last scene of Harry Potter is them sending the kids off to Hogwarts. They're all their children. Do the story with them.
Well, they technically did already with the Cursed Child. I think it's a musical.
Okay.
I think it's either a play or a musical. I can't remember, but they already did that. So like, technically they've already done something akin to that. So that's why I say go back.
And it just would make more sense to me to adapt a play or a book or whatever into a TV series and expand the story, not retell the already perfect story. It just is mind-numbing to me. Like, I think I agree. If you're going to make a TV, like, let's say they have to make a TV show to keep the IP alive, do a sequel, do a prequel, don't retell the original story that's perfect. It just makes no sense. You're just opening yourself up to criticism. Like, it's just silly.
Exactly.
Oh, bro. I know you're a big Elden Ring fan. Did you see they've been at the A24 announced that they're making an Elden Ring movie?
Yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how that pans out. I mean, depending on what like how many movies that they're planning on doing. If they're only doing one, that's a lot of shit to cram in, dude.
Yeah.
But
We saw
otherwise,
how
like
we saw how Last of Us handled that.
yeah, like 7 episodes. My God, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
I
again,
mean,
I know nothing about this. I'm interested that they're doing it. I don't really know. I haven't heard anything much about it at all, but I just was curious because I know you're a big fan of the game.
did you know about the Helldivers movie?
No, didn't hear about
I
that.
believe there's a rumor that they're going to start up a Helldivers movie. Um, because like it's just so it's such a wacky film, and I understand that we already had Starship Troopers, but like the design of that game, I think can breed a movie in full force, especially like with all the different characters you can output. You could do like little tidbits here and there. You can have people like you can have some of the Helldivers flying about. You can have like maybe the commander staying like the same, like sending them out to their own deaths and whatnot. We could see like the whole them like reinforcing kind of thing where it's like they're just shelling out all these different Helldivers as they're going along. I think it'd be
Yeah.
a really fun ordeal.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that could work. Like, the Halo show, while it wasn't fantastic, I think it kind of worked, and it's getting a new life now on Netflix and stuff. And fair play to them. But stuff like that can work for certain people. I think it was
Mhm.
a bit weak story wise for us, but people seem to
Oh,
like it, and they're going to make more. I think so. Yeah, cool.
it's a strange thing about that too, because a lot of people hated it at the beginning because of the way that they portrayed Master Chief. They just kind of put him out there as John, and they're like, okay, well, let's take his helmet off and whatnot, and people were like,
Like,
the
what?
fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And it's like, and they're just still like, they're like, no, the helmet's staying off. We want the character's face to be seen. And it's like, I don't care about the character's face. I just want to enjoy Master Chief for who he is. But like, other than that, I understand that like it's gotten a little bit better from what I understand. Most people are starting to praise it here and there, and I kind of makes me want to watch like the maybe
Season
the
two.
next season, see like what the whole fuss is about,
Yeah,
to see if
I
like
heard
maybe
season
it is
two was a
getting
lot
better.
better. I heard season
Okay.
two was like a lot more accurate to the game, and then I think they did the whole Reach storyline as well, and I think they did it quite well. So yeah, I heard season two was a lot better than season one. So
And
yeah.
people love Reach, so like if they did
Mm.
Reach right, then I'm pretty sure that's why.
Yeah, and I'd say if Netflix are going to pick it up and put some money into it, like they might get a third season, it might continue. Like
Mhm.
Netflix do that from time to time, like where something will get cancelled. Like I think maybe Wheel of Time, again, to bring Wheel of Time for a third time, but I think Wheel of Time, because it's been cancelled at Amazon, maybe they can sell it over to Netflix or something, and maybe it'll get picked up and keep going. Who knows?
Mhm.
There's a wrestling show that I watch called Heels, and that was on Stars, and I think Stars cancelled it after 2 seasons, but Netflix have now picked it up. And I don't know if they're going to make season 3. Maybe they will. I hope they do, because it was such a fantastic show. But again, it's falls victim to just not enough people watching it and not making enough money, so they just cancel it. But the story was fantastic. If you're into like pro wrestling, highly recommend watching the show. It's so good. And season 2
Mhm.
ends on this crazy cliffhanger, and then I heard it got cancelled, and I was genuinely upset. I just couldn't believe it. Like I was like, no, I can't believe they're canceling the show. Um, really rough, really rough. The Bear season 4 is coming out as well at the end of June, I believe. So like in less than 4 weeks' time. So I actually went back and rewatched The Bear again. Like I've seen it now like 3 times. Like it's honestly one of those shows where I could just sit and watch it over and over again. I just love it so much. I love all the characters. Like there's the story development is really good. Like character development is fantastic, and just the pressure of just like, again, I'm not even into like cooking at all, like, but just watching them work in the kitchens and everything, it's just such a fucking crazy
Mhm.
show to watch, and like just feeling like actual genuine stress watching a TV show is just really kind of a different vibe. And then I just love like Richie's redemption arc, and just the whole kind of just seeing everything, and like how they cleverly go back and tell the Bernthal story in it and everything. It's such a good show. And like season 3 was probably the worst of the 3 when they first came out, and I was a little upset with how the third season went, because second season was almost perfection, and it kind
Mhm.
of felt like it dropped off in season 3. But when I went and actually binged it and watched it, in I think I watched it in like 2 days or something like that. Like it's pretty short. It's pretty easy to get through it. Season 3 actually flowed a lot better in a binge, like when I watched it, like compared to when I watched it the first time. So yeah, I'm excited for season 4. It's going to be cool.
Good.
Do you have anything else you want to bring up, or will we end it there for the week? We're almost at 2 hours. Jesus.
Nothing in particular. Oh, I think there's going to be some sort of possible like sneak peek into the next season of One Piece for the live action.
Cool.
I think it's by the end of this month. So
yeah,
keep a lookout.
I'll be definitely watching that. We'll be reviewing that on the cast here, 100%. I can't remember, did the first season drop all at once or was it weekly? I can't remember. I think it was all at once, wasn't it?
Oh man, I feel like it was weekly, but I could be wrong. Like
I don't remember us doing an entire series of One Piece though. Maybe I'm wrong. I could have sworn maybe we just did like 1 or 2 episodes on it, and I think we kind of watched it in the space of like 7 days, sort of thing. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll go back and have a look, but I don't remember us doing like, One Piece episode 2 review, like One Piece episode 3. I don't remember that. But yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
Oh,
BB can't wait for One Piece. Let's go. I really enjoy
nice.
the live action. Really enjoy the live action. I know like Annie's a big fan of it as well, and she's a big fan of like the manga and stuff, and she watches the anime. So I think like some fans of One Piece seem to be liking the show. I think they're doing a good job. I think it was casted very well. It's acted very well. They're putting a lot of money into the creation of it. Like this, they're building practical sets, and it's costing millions and millions. Like so, they're doing everything right. I know you're a little critical of the pace of the story and stuff, but again, I'm watching it with virgin eyes, so I don't know any of the wrong turns that they're taking.
Yeah. You by all means, you enjoy it the way you want to. Like I'm not gonna take that away from you. Like as long as you're enjoying the show and you're having a good time, that's all that matters to me. Even if you hated the show, I'd be like, well, thanks for trying,
Yeah.
But
I suppose that's what I'm happy that maybe people are viewing like The Last of Us like that as well. Like I suppose the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, eh? As they say, like so some people are probably watching that show going, "Oh my god, this is like the best thing ever," and I'm delighted for you, great, But when there's better story out there, it's hard to kind of really appreciate something. I think when that there's a better iteration of the exact same story out there. So like exactly. I'm sure, yeah, and like that's how you feel about One Piece. That's how we both feel about the Last of Us. So yeah, I don't know. Are you around next week, or are you going to be?
Yeah, I'll be
off? You're around.
I should be around next week. Yeah.
I don't really know. Do we have like something to talk about next week? Like again, I kind of like to base the episodes around like one kind of main topic, and then we can kind of flow out to news and kind of see where the conversation goes. Like, but I do like to have like kind of one like focal point for the kind of base the episodes around. I don't know if we have something new to watch. I'm sure I'll figure it out in the next week anyway, but right now I can't tell you what the next episode's going to be about because I don't know yet. I know there's like a few shows on, I'm sure we'll have plenty to watch or to talk about, but and obviously anyone in the chat, keep your ear to the ground on like kind of nerdy news and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll have to play it by ear. I think it's going to be a bit of a different one, but yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Okay,
guys, massive thank you to anybody who was chilling in the chat with us live. If you're listening to a replay, thank you very much. If you've made it this far in the video and you're still hearing us and you're not subscribed, maybe hit the subscribe button, leave a like on the video, leave us a comment below, let us know what you think of The Last of Us and all the stuff we talked about today. And we'll see you next week. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.
Take care.